Hi everyone, Stepan here. Today I'm going to record the training game. On my quest to reach 2100 by the end of November, I now still have 17 points to go. I'm now at 2083. I'm going to create a custom game with a rating range of 2050 and 2900 as the upper limit. So I'm basically trying to play somebody higher rated than me, because that's lower risk and, well, bigger rewards. So yeah, okay, just to give you a brief recap on my training in the last few days. Since I blundered against the Damiano defense, so f6, since I lost a piece on move 4, I changed my training routine to all tactics, and I've decided to start 5 books in November and do the 5 books which are going to be the core of my training. So I've chosen John Nunn's 1001 Deadly Checkmates, Kotov's Chess Tactics, and, well, 3 others, just a second. So Chess Tactics for Advanced Players by Averbach, How to Calculate Chess Tactics by Baim, and also by John Nunn, Learn Chess Tactics. So those 5 books I'm going to be going over. Along with that, I've started doing puzzles on chess.com, although I still have, my rating is 1000 because I'm only allowed to do 5 per day. So I've gotten all correct for the last week. I'm doing them on Chess Tempo as well, standard puzzles, and after 4 or 5 days I'm now at 1900. Okay, we have a game. My opponent is rated 2055, which is okay, not higher rated than me, but still okay. Goes for the London. Okay, I'm going to go knight f6, c5, queen b6 to see what he does. Okay, c5. If now e3, I'm going queen b6. If c3, I go knight c6. And I've played a game against Valerio in this system a week ago, and I lost. He played queen b6 here. So the idea is queen b6, queen b3, c4, queen takes, pawn takes, and then if knight a3, I just develop or play bishop f5. So I'm going to go for queen b6, which is sort of tricky. If queen b3, c4, queen takes b6, a takes b6, black is already slightly better. a3 is not a good move here because I can just go b5. And now if I play b4, this is sort of a minority attack in which, well, he isn't allowed to take. He isn't allowed to take my pawn, so I should have a slight edge here. So if now b4, c takes, knight takes, he cannot recapture with the a pawn, and my knight is threatening to go to c2 and check. Okay, he can do that, but now he's going to be left with 2 isolated pawns. One of them is going to be quite a big target. I could also just ignore this and develop instead. So we have the opening over. I would say we now see the nature of the position. Black should hold a slight edge. For the moment, I don't see what's wrong with b5, because then he would have a hard time defending that pawn. Because if he plays b3, I would take, and his a pawn would be hanging. If he advances it to a5, well, okay. B takes c3, b takes c3, and b5 should win a pawn. Unless I have something better. So I'm basically trying to learn the patterns in this London system for both white and for black. Just see, I'm sorry if the sound is not good again on this video. I don't know how to fix the humming noise, but I think it should be fine. Okay, let's focus on the game. So b takes c3 leaves him with a permanent weakness on c3. That much is clear. And when he recaptures, if I go b5 and he takes, I can take the rook. If I go b5 and he does something else, I can just take on a4. If he pushes to a5, I can take, so I don't really see an issue with this. I'm just going to take, and when he takes, I'm going to play b5. Against b5, if he plays rook b1, I can just take on a4. If he pushes, I can take. If he takes, I take the rook. So honestly, I don't see a problem with that. But that still just leaves a pawn hanging. Ah, okay, that's a nice variation. So if I take the knight, he takes with the pawn, and then attacks my my knight. But then I can go knight to h5. So knight takes e5, pawn takes e5. Otherwise, he loses a pawn. Knight h5, bishop g5 is met with h6, and then bishop h4, g5, bishop to g3, knight takes. And then the only thing he can do to save the pawn is advance it to a5, where it's still going to be kind of vulnerable. So I think there's no doubt about that I have to take now. The question is just, well, if he takes with the bishop, I can just take. So I have to go knight to h5. He advances the pawn immediately. Well, that's okay. But now my position should just be good after something simple. So okay, I'm not sure I want my bishop on f5, because I kind of want to be defending b5. What I am sure about is that I want to play b4 as soon as possible, and then take with the bishop pinning the knight. On the other hand, e6 sort of leaves my bishop on a bad square. But if I go bishop f5, he can go h3, and after I take his bishop, okay, so e6 seems fine. I'm going to open up my bishop on the light squares, probably on a4. And I also want to keep my bishop on c8, so that after I play b4, c takes b4, bishop takes b4, and I'm threatening the a5 pawn. If he advances to a6, I can just take. So I'm just going to go e6, even though it blocks in my bishop. When I take his bishop and he recaptures, and I've played b4, I'm going to have a much easier time playing the move d4. So okay, now b4 was my calculation. I'm just going to continue with what I wanted to do. He has to take. There's nothing better. And now it comes with check. So I think knight f3 may have been a mistake. Oh, if he doesn't take, then surely I just have a very good passed pawn. But my bishop is bad. Okay, so now if I go bishop e7, he's going to go bishop g5. So if I take, he will recapture with the pawn. Of course, there's nothing else to capture with. But then I can open up my bishop on c5 and put pressure on the f2 pawn. And if he takes on b4, I win the a5 pawn. So I like that. I'm just going to take. And when e takes, bishop c5. And now, how does he defend? He can only defend with the king. So he should be losing a pawn here. I don't see a way to defend. I'm sorry, to defend both pawns. This gives me two passed pawns. I mean, this just gives me two passed pawns. So yeah, and takes, c takes, two passed pawns. That's overwhelming. Yeah, and also I can get rid of my bishop with c3, so no problem there. So bishop a6, an idea to trade the bishops off. If he goes rook b1, I will defend with rook to b8, and then go c3. Should I castle first? So bishop a6 or castles. I do want to be advancing my pawns, there's no doubt about that, but I kind of want to get my rook into play first. And again, if he plays rook b8, I'm just going to go... if he plays rook b1, I'll just go rook b8, he doesn't have a6. So I'll just castle first. This has to be correct. Okay, now bishop a6 has to be fine. Threatening c3 check. Once again, if rook b1, rook b8, I can now go rook f to b8, which is a big difference. And my pawns are just very strong. Okay. Passed pawns, if you want to listen to Nxefic, have to be put under lock and key, treated like dangerous criminals. But if you have them, if you're not playing against them, very often, and this is another quote by Nxefic, the threat is stronger than the execution. So let's just put my rooks on C and B file and improve my position. I don't really want to play C3 when it's not with check, because he has king to b3 after that. So c3, bishop takes a6, rook takes a6, king to b3 would attack my b4 pawn. I don't want to allow that. If he plays rook to b1, I don't want to play b3 because that allows king c3. So I think I should just be putting my rooks on the open files. So rook a to b8, threatening b3 and then threatening b2 seems like a deadly threat. Okay, I'm going to do that. The thing is, he never has rook b1 now because b3 check, king to... Okay, b3 check, king to c3, b2. If king to c3, then I can check. Okay, calculation needed. b3 check, king b2. If king c3, I play b2. b3 check, king c3, b2, rook b1, I'm expecting. Rook b3 check, the king has to go to c2. And then I constantly have to worry about my bishop on a6. Oh, but I would have bishop b5 intermezzo move. Okay, I'm going to do it because there's no issue with that, I would say. Now he doesn't have king to b2 because c3 check wins his bishop. So okay, now my calculation was b2, rook b1, rook to b3 check, king to c2, and bishop to b5, threatening the rook. When the rook moves, I can then go c3. But should I go... Should I go rook to c8 first? Well, if I go rook to c8 now, he can go rook b1 and block my pawn. Maybe I should just put pressure on his pieces and threaten to win the a5 pawn. Because I don't see an easy way to defend against that. Because if he puts both of his rooks on the a file, then my b pawn can just queen. I can also just try to get my rook into play. If he plays a rook to b4 now, I would take it and play rook to b8 check. His king would have to go to the c file, and then his king is not defending against my pawns anymore. And I could also probably win the a5 pawn. So rook b4 takes, king takes, rook b8 check. If the king goes back, fine. If the king goes to c5, then a rook to b5 check. If the king goes to a4, then I just leave it there. I kind of want to get my other rook into play and get my king into play. I would love to get my king to b5. Okay, so b2 was the original idea. Maybe b3 was a mistake, so the threat is stronger than the execution. I should have kept my pawns more flexible. b2, rook b1, rook b3 check, king to c2. And if I go c3, he can take my rook. Jesus. Okay, so I should double my rooks before doing that, but I don't have time to double my rooks because he goes rook b1, rook b2, blocking my things. Yeah, I may have given him an opportunity to create a blockade here. Okay, then how about just rook b5 with the idea of rook b8? Rook b5, rook b1, rook b8, rook b2. He's blocking me. But he doesn't have that many useful moves. I still feel that I should be checking him away when I still have the time. Okay, b2, rook b1, rook b3 check, king c2, rook b8, he can go rook a2 and try to win my pawn. Maybe I should just try to win his pawn. I'm going to play rook b5 because I don't see a way to make b2 work. Still, if he goes rook b4 now, I'm still going to take it, and his king is going to be misplaced, or his rook is going to go away from a4, which is certain. He's playing extremely quickly. We started with 15 minutes, he has 18 left, which isn't good. If I could get a dark squared bishop instead of a light squared one, well, whole different story. But now, when all of my pawns are on light squares, I have a dead piece. So I would like to trade it off, but okay, rook b1 as expected. Now b2 he can just take. Oh no, he can't take. I can go b2. So b2, rook b2, rook b2, king b2, c3 check wins the bishop. b2, rook a2. b2, rook a2 still doesn't win my pawn because I can go rook b8. Then I could go c3. Okay, I'm just going to go rook b8 and allow rook b2 because I don't see a way to make that work. I'm afraid I'm going to be losing my pawn. So I'll march my king to b5 and continue from there. I think I have time for that. He doesn't have any sacrifices on b3, even if he takes twice, because it's always check and... okay. This I don't see working because I think his bishop was perfect on this diagonal. Now I can start undermining his position, actually, or I can march my king over there. So f6, e takes f6, g takes f6. If he does nothing, I can get my rook into play. So I like f6, breaking up the structure and eventually creating a passed pawn on the d file. So I'm going to play energetically, if I can. I need to open up some more lines. Okay, he doesn't want to open up some more lines. That's understandable, so let's get my rook into play. But he's risking a lot with this move g3 and not taking, because I can now close down the position if I want to with f5 and then just pry open the king side with h5, h4. So I think he should take and allow me to create a passed pawn on the d file as well. So f5 seems like a good idea. f5, the only move I'm worried about is g4. So okay, now I'm just going to go g6. And now, since I can't take with the pawn on f6, I'm going to play f5. And if he plays g4, I'm going to transfer my rook to the h file. I just need to open up some lines for my pieces. I'm also looking at g5 now, but he can then go back to h5 and check me. So g5, if fg5, I can then take on e5, and after d takes e5. Okay, this is just what I had in mind. I want to play h5. So h5, okay, what does he do now? I'm going to play h4. Should I block the position down first? Yes, I should. f5, and now next move h4. If he plays h4 himself, yeah, this was a mistake by me. Okay, now I need to think of something else. Okay, let's march my king to the king side. So my next plan is get my king as close as possible, play rook a8, bishop c8, and threaten the a5 pawn. If he moves his rook to a1, then I go b2. I think I shouldn't have closed down the position on the king side, but it's still going to be fine. So okay, rook to a8. Still, I don't think he has rook b4, because I am going to win a pawn eventually or drive his king away. So now I'm threatening bishop to c8. Now if I go bishop c8, he's going to go king b2. But then I can go c3. If I go bishop c8 and he goes a6, then I need to go rook a7 and follow that up with rook to b6. b2, he's going to play rook b1. If I go bishop c8 and he goes king b2, do I have anything with c3 check? Maybe. And I'm low on time. Okay, let's just test him. King b2. a6 I don't think works. If he doesn't play king b2, I think b2 just works. What I have to make sure though is that, yeah, okay, that now I have some ideas with c3. c3 check, king c3, b2, rook b1 doesn't work. But what if I transfer my rook to a6 and to c6? I like that. So I want to play rook c6 and then threaten c3 check. I'm low on time, as you can see. I have 4 minutes, he has 17. Okay, so now what does he do against c3 check? Does he go rook c1? Rook c6, rook c1, c3 check, rook takes, king takes, b2 is indefensible. So I'm going to do that. He doesn't have time for a6 because I still have c3 check. Okay, now we are making progress. b2, rook b1, rook b3 check, king to c2, I can go c3. Am I worried about a6? Yes, I am. So I should just get my bishop to a6 first. And now still he doesn't have rook b1 because I go b2, rook b2, rook b2, king b2, c3 check wins the bishop. Okay, so rook b1 would be a mistake. Oh, but he can go bishop d1. That's boring. If he goes bishop d1, I'll just get my king to the king side. I want to get my king to a7 just to stop any threats of the a-pawn becoming a queen. When I get my king to a7, I'll be much happier. Oh, rook b1 is a mistake. b2. Or is it a mistake? Because he can go rook a2 now. And after c3 my rook is still hanging. Jesus. Oh, he takes. Nice. He just blundered his bishop. Yeah, but I think he just rook a2 was fine. I think he had a draw. I think the position was a draw. This is a trick I constantly had, but he should not have fallen for that. Okay, how do we play this safe? Get the king into the position. I'm stopping a6 with my bishop and with my rook. Okay, stop the rook from coming in. What I'm going to do is bishop a6, bishop b7, king b8, king a7. I'm going to use my bishop as a shield to get my king into the position. Or I can just play rook a6 and offer a pawn trade, which should be fine. That's weird. Okay. Yeah, bishops are great in situations where the opposition is a thing. So let's just play it safe. Let's not blunder anything. I don't think he has any breakthroughs, or not with my bishop on the board. Yeah, weird play by him trading over the rooks and missing b2, and rook takes b2. I think if he'd just played rook a2, then we trade the b2 pawn for the a5 pawn eventually, and he is equal. But my bishop comes to life, so I'm not sure. But definitely rook takes b2 is a blunder that he should not have played. Okay. We need to shoulder his king out. I need to get to b4, so rook b2, rook b4, and I get the opposition I'm in. If he goes rook d3, I go rook b3. And now if he goes rook c1, I go rook king c3. Now his king is forced back. What is he playing at? Okay, let's drive him away. Win some pawns. Yeah, if I just don't do anything, he's not creating a passed pawn. So if I take, he can create a breakthrough, but if I don't do anything, he can't do anything. So I'll just wait. I need to play a waiting move. I want to get the opposition. I want to get to the d3 square. His king needs to go all the way back, and I'll play king d3, win the d4 pawn, and win the game. Whichever pawn he takes, I'm blocking in the structure. If I had taken with either pawn, he has the ability to create a passed pawn, which I really don't want to allow. Okay, he resigns. Now, let's analyze this, because I had... Because I had a much better position. Okay, so let's just check his opening play. A3 is a mistake, and black, you can see, is equal or slightly better. And now b4, a4, yeah, minus 0.5, takes, and b5 is correct, knight takes, knight h5 correct, a5, e6 correct, knight there, okay, everything was correct. My play was good, it seems. I should not have taken the knight, apparently. Bishop a6 is better than castles. Bishop a6 now, king to c2. b3 immediately is better. Rook a4. b3 is a mistake now, yeah. Here I thought that it could be equal, but it's more than -1 still. Rook b5, there. Rook f to b8, correct. f6 the engine thinks is okay. G6, okay. I should have taken, but here, F5 is a mistake, has to be. Yeah, now it's equal. F5 is just a horrible move, but the engine still thinks black can win. Now, let's see. Bishop C8 correct. King to B2 is fine. Rook to A6 is fine. Bishop E2 is okay. Rook to C6 is okay. King to C3. Now bishop A6 is the best move. Rook B1. And now B2 I guess is a mistake. Oof, white is winning. White is winning with Rook A2 or Bishop D1. Okay. So yeah, Bishop D1 just stops Rook B3 check, and I blunder the pawn. Rook B2 is obviously losing a piece, but okay, so what can we learn from this position? So in this position I played B2 and blundered. What could I have done to improve my position? Let's think about this. So any setup I create, I don't see a way to break through. B2 doesn't work, I don't have Rook B4, I can't take on A5 because he has time to defend. What if I just bring my king closer? And let's see what he does against that. Let's say Bishop D1. The engine wants me to move my king back to E7. Okay, so what was the move here? Okay, here. Rook C8, Bishop F3, now King D7, Bishop E2. So white is doing nothing. And now King back to E7, so this is just a draw, according to the engine. It doesn't see a way to improve. Okay, finally moving the king forward. Still Bishop to E2. Now it found a way to win. So bringing my king was the correct plan, which I thought about, but... And they played B2 instead, which is horrible. Okay, so I earned 8 points. So now I still have... Right, let me check. Profile. 9 points to go. Okay, 9 points to go. That's not so much. So I'm at 2091. So one high win should be enough to reach my goal. So the next game I need to be fully concentrated. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think about the game. Let me know what you think about my new training routine, and stay tuned for more chess. Bye bye.